Hello, everyone. We'd like to welcome you to a special program taking place now at Fairview Park Hospital, where we're out here today to recognize volunteers. You know, if you've been watching TV 35 over the weeks in the past, and certainly in the weeks ahead, you'll see how many volunteers that we have in our community that we're able to recognize. We've sought out different agencies, from Red Cross to Salvation Army to individual groups that turn out, from churches, individuals all over our community who do their part in making a difference. And certainly we want to recognize the lady standing next to us that helps us tremendously at TV 35, Miss Nelda Knight. All of you probably recognize Nelda. And Nelda, you've always been a volunteer in your life, and we're here today because you helped us organize an effort to be able to recognize the so many volunteers that work so hard here at Fairview Park Hospital. And how many years have you been a volunteer, Nelda?
Well, I'm a charter member here. Mm-hmm. I was not with the Service League when they initiated the project, but when they dropped it as a project and the hospital, the new hospital here, started, then we started the auxiliary. And from there, 3 years ago, we changed to the volunteers. Mm-hmm. We're trying to move with change. So now, instead of the pink ladies, we're the blue ladies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, color change, but the service is still there.
Exactly. And as a matter of fact, we've expanded the services in the hospital to different areas.
Mm-hmm. And what does a blue lady do here?
We do a little of everything.
So I'm finding out.
We work in one-day surgery. We work on the floors. We work the fitness center. We work just about every part of the hospital. Not all of them, like the emergency room, of course, but we work the majority of the hospital.
Yeah, and we see you all over, in and out. When you come in to visit, you'll see the blue ladies. They really make a difference in the hospital. What makes you volunteer, though, Nelda? What has made you want to volunteer for all these years?
That's probably a good question.
Sometimes you wonder.
One thing is I've had two little episodes in my life that were really big ones. Once with my father, and then again with my husband, with sicknesses. And I've had so many people that were there to help me until I felt like, just giving back like people gave to me.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. Yeah. You want to share a little story with us about anyone?
Volunteers may not appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
Listen, we don't work all the time, though, Ron. Mm-hmm. We do have a good time. Mm-hmm. We plan little get-togethers, and matter of fact, once even rented a limo and went to Social Circle just for lunch.
Well, that's nice.
We just forgot the champagne.
But you had a good time.
We had a great time.
Yeah.
Really
now, I want to know about the volunteer, the person in the hospital that truly helped when your father was here, your husband was here. Could you share a story with us about that now?
Probably Ann Fennell, which was the administrative secretary at the time. That's back when Dominica Grando was here. Mm-hmm. And I think probably Ann was a big turning point right then.
Mm-hmm. Really made a difference.
That made me come to the hospital.
Right, right. And it's been worthwhile for you. You continue to do it.
Yes. Mainly, I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how many blue ladies do we have now?
I believe right now we have, am I correct in saying 17, I think?
Mm-hmm. How do you become a blue lady? What would one do in order to become involved?
Come out, get an application, come see Mindy Monk, get an application, mm-hmm. and of course we have to have background checks and so forth, this kind of thing.
Sure.
And before you know it, you're put to work somewhere.
That's wonderful. Well, we want to meet some of the volunteers.
Very good.
All right.
Okay. Let's start with Jody Alford.
Okay. Come along.
I'm going to step over here and let you talk with Jody.
Wonderful.
Oh, my goodness.
Jody? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for what you do.
I love it.
And your smile is wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so you share with so many people throughout the hospital. You're able to help in many ways. But tell me, in what area do you serve? Do you volunteer?
The biggest area I serve right now is helping the nurses with their discharge packets.
Mm-hmm.
I have make sure that CCU, PCU, third floor, all of them have enough of the discharge packets that they don't have to worry about going to look for them when they start discharging people.
So
That
you help
keeps me-
keep things orderly, don't you?
That keeps me pretty busy.
I'll bet it does. And you
does.
help them tremendously.
I love it.
How many years have you been volunteering? 3 years.
But I worked with a pediatrician here for 30 years, so
Okay.
I'd been in the
Medical
this business,
field, yeah.
medical field, and that
Mhm.
made me love it that much more.
Any stories you may want to share with us, rewarding incidences?
The incident that stands out in my mind right now is I was going down the hall, and this young lady was standing there, and she looked awfully distressed. And I stopped and asked her, I said, "Is something wrong? Can I help you?" And she showed me some places on her face, and she said, "My husband beat me. But she said he does it frequently, but he's my 5th husband." And I said, "Honey, I think it's time you learn what's going on and get this straightened out." But then I had prayer with her, and to me that was the greatest blessing that I had had in a long time.
So you're able to share your faith well.
Right.
And what a wonderful field to be in, to be able to share that faith when people really need encouragement.
Right. She looked a little better when I left than she did when I first met her.
Wonderful. What would you say to encourage people to become a volunteer with Fairview Park?
I would say that if you feel like you're not accomplishing anything, if you volunteer and you help someone at Fairview Park, whether it's like I do a lot of the paperwork or stuff, or whether you go in and work with the patient, it gives you a good feeling of I've accomplished something profitable. And you can share, like I said, your faith or your love, and sometimes all they need is just a pat on the back or a smile to get them going.
You've got that going for you.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, next we have Katie Hogan. Katie, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
And being able to share with us, or being willing to share with us, what it means to you to be a volunteer here at Fairview Park Hospital. Now, what area do you work in?
I work in the billing department. I help the girls back there. I do about 3 hours worth of work that they would, on Monday mornings, the emergency room patients that come in on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I handle that paperwork and get it organized for them to speed along what they have to do the whole rest of the week and get it ready for them. Otherwise, one of them has to sit there and do that for 3 hours and can't start on her regular work. And so kind of work in the background.
And I can see that you all help bring order to the place.
Exactly.
You help get everything in line so that people can do their work more efficiently.
It's not always, I don't ever see patients, although I have delivered mail upstairs a couple times, but it's the staff that needs help too. And it's not just in the, I can stay in the background, and which I really like. So.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that. But most people don't think of it. They think, okay, these ladies,
flowers,
are delivering flowers, or they're doing whatever around in the hospital. But behind the scenes as well, and for the staff to help them be able to be more efficient, more productive. That's wonderful. How did you get involved?
Well, I've just retired from the Postal Service 2 years ago, almost exactly. And Nelda is one of my neighbors from Dexter. It's where I worked in all those years. I worked there almost 37 years. And a lot of the pink ladies came in every afternoon from volunteering, and I got to hear about it. But when I retired, I wanted something else to do. And the Postal Service was really good to me, and I wanted to just give back to the community. And talking to Nelda, this is where I wanted to come and start. And they said, "Oh, you'll have to be here at 7 a.m. on Monday morning." And I thought, I didn't even have to be at the Postal Service till 7:30. But I am here early. I love it. I don't even have any trouble getting here on time, and I just love it. The girls in the office appreciate it. They've been so friendly and sweet, and even when I've had to be off, they promise not to train somebody in my place. I love what I'm doing.
That's
and it's really just meaningful to me to know that I'm helping behind the scenes and doing something. When you retire, I think Monday morning is your worst morning because you're used to being at work at 7:30 or whatever every morning, and suddenly, what do you do on Monday morning? And volunteering has just really filled that gap, and I just love it. And I've helped with the blood drives too. They have blood drives here once a quarter or something, and Jody and I have worked together with that, and I hope to do a lot more of that.
Wonderful,
So
wonderful.
It's just a fun place to work too. And I go to the emergency room and pick up the paperwork, and the girls down there frequently have had a wild night, coming in all night long.
Yeah.
And I get to handle their paperwork, get it out of their way.
I'm sure they're glad to see you come.
Get rid of it.
Yeah, hand it off.
Yeah.
I'm sure. It's
fun.
not a small stack, is it?
No, it's not like that.
Yeah.
For 3 nights. So
Yeah.
3 24-hour periods. And it's just something I can do.
Encourage others to be a part, if you will. What would you say to them?
I tell people, if you need something extra to do that you want to give back to the community, be of service, and a great place to work is to come here and just fill empty time, but you get so much more out of it. I just have made so many friends and met people and seen other volunteers working and just everything we do, and it's just a great place to work. I got to attend the ceremony last year when Nelda and Jay Bailey were Employees of the Year for the Frist Service Award.
Yes.
And I was so impressed with all the staff that spoke and gave background on what they were doing. It was very impressive. And I said, I'm in the right place.
It's good to make a difference, and it's good to be appreciated, too, isn't it?
It is.
Sure
But it's
is.
just fun, too.
Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you.
All right. Now, there's also chaplain that are here, and we have a couple of chaplain that will be able to share with us. Would you come forward, please? And as I say, we have many chaplains that service the hospital. They come in and they minister to people. This is Andy. Andy is a chaplain here at Fairview Park Hospital. Welcome, Andy.
Thank you.
And there are actually 17 chaplain that help the people here, that are able to volunteer their time and minister to people and share in their faith. And so, Andy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Andy Bethay, member of Turkey Creek Missionary Baptist Church here in Dublin. I moved here about 4 years ago, and I joined the Ministers Union, and they pointed out that they needed volunteers, chaplains here at the hospital, and I volunteered about 2 years ago to be a volunteer, just to come out and assist in a sense, not knowing what was involved. And I was trained under Reverend Roger Edwards. He trained me. We walk around each floor, each department, stop at the nurses' station. They usually let us know who would probably like to see us, and we would go in and have prayer and talk and get a feeling from them, how they feel and what are their concerns. And we do that, and now he's gotten a different job, and I'm doing it alone, but enjoying every minute of it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
About how much time do you spend at the hospital per week?
I usually clock in around 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Get started around 9:30. I come in and have breakfast first.
Yeah.
I need my
That's
coffee.
good. Yes,
to get me
Good
started.
fresh breakfast.
And then I start around 9:30 and leave around quarter after 11. So it's about a couple hours. So that we
How
do
many
that.
times have you volunteered before? Is this your first experience in volunteering?
First experience. I retired. I'm a retired social worker. Retired a few years ago and
Wonderful.
sat around. I enjoyed my Mondays being off.
Everyone's different. Everyone's different.
But when I moved here, I got into volunteering. I hadn't done anything, but I'm part of a church, so I do things at my church. I moved here from New Jersey,
Yes.
and I was a member of the Miracle Missionary Baptist Church there. Served as an assistant pastor, so there was a lot going on that I had to do. So, but just actually volunteering, this is the first stint.
Tell us how you feel about it.
My desire is to serve, and every opportunity, that's what I want to do. So I enjoy doing that. Just to serve others
And so you're able to share your faith.
Yes, in many instances, I do that. I even witness. And one of my great experiences here is met a young fella, and he was afraid because everyone thought or told him that what he had done, God was punishing him. And I was able to share with him that God did not have anything against him, that God loved him, and he was willing to receive Christ as his Savior here at Fairview. So that's a great experience.
That is.
Yeah.
That is. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us, for
Quite
everything
welcome.
that you do, Andy.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work.
Certainly, we will.
All right, now we have Cole Morris here with us. And Cole, tell us about what you do here. You're a chaplain as well?
I am. I'm a chaplain as well, but I consider what I do a little bit different and unique from the other chaplains. A couple years ago, Serenity Hospice, who I am employed as a chaplain, kind of joined efforts with Fairview Park Hospital, and we started a grief support group here at the hospital. We meet every fourth Thursday at 4 o'clock, and we go for about an hour. And it's a group that meets that's for people that have experienced any type of loss, whether it's been somebody that's been on hospice, whether it's somebody that's been dealt with a family member that committed suicide, anybody that's lost somebody from a heart attack, a car wreck. We've had the mental health here in Lawrence County that has recommended people to the support group. And usually about once or twice a month I get phone calls from different service groups in the community asking about our support group, because there doesn't seem to be a lot of that available. And so, and it's a free group that people can come to, and that's what a lot of people love about it, because often things like that you have to pay for. So I enjoy doing that, and I think those are groups of people that initially may have a lot of support, but then after a few weeks, they are forgotten about, and I love the side of it, to getting to minister to the people that have experienced loss throughout their grieving and throughout their healing process.
And, after 2 or 3 weeks, that's when they probably really need someone. As you say, people will rush to you when you first lose someone.
Right.
But then you have that time of, I guess, acceptance would be first, just being able to accept that it's happened.
Well, they go through a phase of shock and disbelief, and then sometimes they go through anger, and then finally the acceptance comes, and they start to feel sad and lonely and depressed. And those are different stages of grief that we talk about and go through. And I kind of allow the group to kind of heal each other. One of the things I found is that often it's encouraging and uplifting to hear what other people have gone through, and to see that you're not going through it alone, and that there's other people that are going through things that are just as bad as you, or even worse. So it's a really great opportunity to minister
I guess
to
so.
these families.
It's rewarding. It's worthwhile for you to be able to facilitate that.
Right.
Again, in helping people who've gone through that loss to share with those who are just beginning that, and being able to share like stories. If we have like burdens in life and we share that with others, we get healing from it, but we help the other person as well.
Oh, right, definitely. Definitely. And you get to share your own personal losses with them as well, and what you've gone through, and especially working at hospice and doing this kind of goes hand in hand, because I see the losses a lot, and so I can share those experiences with the group, and it's really a good opportunity.
Cole, what would you tell others about volunteering? Now, you're a young man, and this is an opportunity for you to volunteer. And so, as young people, a lot of times, we get a little caught up in life, and, we don't apply ourselves as much as we should, but share with them. And
one thing I think is often we do think about volunteering when you're kind of older and retired and that sort of thing, but it's also a great way for young, we've had, I believe high school students can do it, and it looks great on a college resume, that's for sure, a college application, but there's things that they can do and give back and feel like that they're being part of the community as well. That they don't have to wait till their life is getting to the end before they can give back to the community. They can do that right now and start today.
You know, one thing about, if you think about being a volunteer as a high school, college student, young person, you learn so much about yourself and about other people and how to relate to them, I believe. And that helps you grow in maturity. You know when you approach people who are in a situation of like that you've experienced, you've been around, more how to relate to them. It's more personal to you.
Right.
And it helps you grow as a person, in other words.
Right. And seeing sickness too. You know, a lot of I know when I was younger, you don't experience a lot of sickness when you're young, because usually your parents are younger, your grandparents are younger, and so being around it kind of helps mature you to where you're prepared when that day does come.
Yeah.
Because it's all going to happen to us.
That's right.
Sometime.
Be prepared.
Be prepared.
Yeah. Thank you, Cole.
Thank you
Appreciate
very much.
what you do.
Thank you. God bless you.
All right, everyone. Now we have Tyler Lowe, and Tyler volunteers in outpatient physical therapy. Who'd have ever thought it? And how did you get involved with that, Tyler?
Well, at school last year, Mindy came and we had a table set up at lunch.
Mindy Mom. Who's okay?
And she suggested that if we were interested in the medical field, we should come out and volunteer at the hospital.
Yeah.
And get some experience. So I signed up and got an application and came out here and volunteered.
Mm-hmm. All right, and so you're actually a physical therapist?
No, I'm a youth volunteer.
Okay, a youth volunteer. Wonderful. All right, so what do you tell other young people that may be thinking about going into that field? What have you learned from it, and how has it helped you?
How's it helped me? Yeah. You learn how to relate to people in pain, because a bunch of people in physical therapy have issues with mobility and they hurt all the time. So you help and you learn how that your life is better than what you think it is.
Yeah, counting your blessings, are you?
Yes,
That's
sir.
wonderful. Do you have friends that you encourage maybe to volunteer?
I do have some friends that I encourage to come out here and volunteer, because it's a really good experience.
Mm-hmm.
You learn kind of what you want to do when you get to college, because you don't really know till you see it firsthand what you really are interested in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you may think you're interested, and then if you get hands-on, you're better able to understand it. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Who are your parents?
My parents are Mike and Wendy Lowe.
Yeah.
We live in East Dublin.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so they encourage you, be a part, go ahead, do it.
Right. Yeah.
That's wonderful. So what are your long-range plans?
Well, after high school, I want to go to college and become an athletic trainer. First 4 years, and then the last 4 I want to go for physical therapy.
Wonderful. We wish you the best. Thanks for volunteering.
All right. Thank you.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with volunteer Jordan Bracewell. Many of you know her from the community. Remind everybody who your parents are, please.
My parents are Jill and Michael Bracewell.
Mm-hmm. And they're real proud of you, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you do a lot in the community. You have done a lot in the community. And I didn't know you volunteered here. How long have you been volunteering?
I just started this summer, actually. Mm-hmm. But I've really enjoyed it. It's been a great experience so far, and I hope to come back next summer as well.
Oh, good. So tell us what all you're involved in your personal life now. Do you go to college?
Well, I just graduated from West Lawrence High School, and I'm going to attend Georgia College in the fall.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. And so why did you come here to volunteer?
Well, I think volunteering is a wonderful thing to do to start out with. Mm-hmm. It's just really good, not only for your community, but for you as well. You get a lot out of it. But the reason that I chose Fairview in particular is because I want to be a nurse. So I thought it would be really great to volunteer at a hospital and get a little experience alongside of helping out.
Yeah. So what all do you do here as a volunteer?
Well, they're kind of putting me where they need me this summer. Mm-hmm. So I started out working Patient Portal, which is an online way for patients to access their medical records, and I tried to get patients to sign up for that. Mm-hmm. And I have helped out the volunteer director, Miss Mindy Monk, a little bit, and I've helped out in scheduling when their volunteer was out, and right now I'm actually on a new project in outpatient, mm-hmm. and I'm helping people with the sign-in process and helping to try to make that a little more smooth.
Mm-hmm. Going to get a lot of experience, it sounds like.
Yes, I like being a bit of everywhere. I get to see a little bit of everything. Yeah. It's nice.
Yeah, so you're already feeling the rewards.
Yeah, it feels good to just, first of all, I like to be busy. And then second of all, it feels good to help people out.
Yeah, it is rewarding, and to learn a lot about yourself along the way too. I'm
Right,
sure.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me, are you mostly working with the staff? Do you say you work with some of the patients and signing them up online?
Yes, for that I worked with the patients mostly. I didn't I wasn't involved very much with the staff. I would go patients room to room, and I would actually chat with some for quite a long time if they did want to talk, and that was probably my favorite part of that. And other things like when I'm helping Miss Mindy out, that's just the staff. But outpatient is a bit of everything because I'm working with the staff for the sign-in process, but then I'm also talking to the patients.
Yeah. So when working in the many different areas, tell us some of the things you've learned and some of the things that really meant a lot to you in the short period you've been here.
A lot of the time, the patient just wants somebody to talk to. And it's nice to be able to be there and let them have somebody. Sometimes they want to be left alone, but I've also learned that it's nice if they try to start conversation to just sit with them a while.
That's wonderful. Thank you for what you do, and best of
Well,
luck
you're very
to you,
welcome.
Jordan.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're with youth volunteer TJ Patharaju, and we welcome you. Thank you so much. We had you on a show earlier with Ricky Porter talking to you about your accomplishments at Dublin High School.
Yes, sir.
And so you're involved in quite a bit in the community.
I guess you could say so.
Yeah. How long have you been a volunteer here, TJ?
I've been volunteering since last summer.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So you got about a year.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
What types of things have you done?
I started out working in the emergency department, and I would transport patients, help with supplies, and basically help the nurses out if they needed anything. This summer, I started in the lab as well as the emergency room, and in the lab, I work with the phlebotomist, and I basically go around and shadow them, and if they need any help drawing blood, I don't actually draw the blood, but I'll help them with everything else and send stuff to the lab. And
What kind of hours do you work, or are you able to volunteer?
I work Tuesday afternoons and Thursday mornings. I work twice a week, trying to get my hours up.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah. And so what's the biggest reward to you in working with people and seeing what kind of is behind the scenes as well as dealing with the patients?
It's definitely fun working with patients. I think so.
Yeah.
They're always happy to see a young face in the room, and
Right.
they're always very talkative, and I like talking with them. It's always interesting. You learn something new from every person you meet. So,
I bet you met a lot of people.
yes, sir, and it's been interesting.
I bet it has. So many people come through, as Jordan said, and you're able to meet those people, and then I guess, they leave here and you see them out in the community, and that's another face you know.
Yes,
Another
sir.
person you know, and it's good to know more people, no doubt
Yes,
about
sir.
it. What would you tell other young people who are coming along who may be thinking about, I might like to do that?
Well, I think you should definitely try it out. It's very rewarding, and it's very useful, and it's got other perks to it. Like being a volunteer is very good on a college resume. You get to meet a lot of people, as you said, and it's just very fun and rewarding, I believe.
Okay, great. We appreciate what you do. Keep
Yes,
up
sir.
the good work.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, TJ.
Nice.
All right, now we welcome you back to the program where we have Al Haywood. Most everyone will recognize Al from the community.
I hope so.
You have been doing a lot in our community for years in many capacities, counselor, pastor, all-around good guy.
Well, thank you, Ron. You're a good man.
Thank you. Thank
Just
you.
like my all-around good TV
I'm taking
buddy.
up a collection later, right?
Good.
But Al, you volunteer here as well.
Yes, I
In
do.
what
I'm
capacity?
I'm a volunteer chaplain here
Okay.
at Fairview.
All right, and we understand there's 17 of you all chaplains.
That's my understanding, yes.
How do y'all schedule the time? How do y'all choose when you're going to come? Everyone can't come at once, I
Well,
guess.
of course. Actually, we leave that up to the volunteer coordinator, Mindy Monk.
Mm-hmm,
Mindy schedules our time, and she's very good about letting us know when we're on call.
Yeah.
And
so,
now that we're in the days of cell phones, it's pretty easy. You don't have to pass a pager around or anything like that. They just have your cell
okay.
phone number.
all right. And so when you come in and serve, or maybe when you're on call, do you get a call from someone who is maybe in a bad place and they just like to have a minister come?
Yes. I've been called on several occasions. One specifically, the most recent one was to the emergency room. A lady that had been having some problem with some cancer issues and as a result some physical issues and was just really nervous and afraid as she came into the emergency department. Of course, the staff here are always so wonderful in putting patients at ease, but she did want a chaplain. So I had been preaching that morning. I got out of the pulpit, checked my cell phone, and came immediately to the hospital.
And tell us about that experience, how that went.
It went well, actually. She and I talked. One thing that I do as a chaplain is just try to make sure that they understand that they're in good hands. The staff here are absolutely wonderful. They can do anything anybody else can do. And, you know, when you're unfamiliar with something and you go into a situation like that, and your health is at risk, certainly, you're going to be a little bit nervous. So I always try and pray with the people that I come to see. And prayer is always a good... Comforter, yes. That's a good word, Rod. And that's basically what I do. Just let them know that they're in good hands, that there are people here who care about them and love them, and they're praying for them, and just want to minister to them.
That's wonderful, Al, just to think about those people who are uneasy and you to be able to come in and just pour out your heart and then open theirs in the process to commune with God.
That's right.
That's wonderful. And so how many years have you been volunteering?
I have volunteered here at Fairview since the inception. I'm not sure how long that is. It's been several years. And it's kind of like, you know, I pastored at Cadwell for 9 years.
Right.
Now I've started the counseling practice.
Right.
But that's all I can remember, you know, since I've been here, since the very beginning. So it seems like forever to me, but that's okay. I love what I do.
How about other stories that you've experienced?
Well, one story was dealing with a gentleman that was an inmate. He was here and was being asked to take a certain route in his treatment. His religion didn't allow it. And so I came in. He was of a different nationality. And so I couldn't really communicate with him, but the hospital has a great way to do that. They pulled out this tool that I had never used before, so this was new to me. There were 2 handsets for a telephone, and he was on one and I was on the other. And he would talk to a translator, the translator would talk to me, then I would talk back to the translator, and basically we were communicating through phone right there in each other's presence. So it worked well. I explained to him the treatment that they were doing. Although I'm not a doctor or nurse, and just letting him know from an individual aspect how it would be. And he ended up getting the right treatment, coming through that with flying colors. And so it was a win-win for him, for me, for the hospital. And I think that was probably the most unique call I've ever had. Another call that I had was in the very beginning. There was a terrible wreck on the interstate. A couple of children were killed. That's probably the most devastating thing. But you always try to come in and support and encourage the family that's there, and try to help the staff here sometimes contain the situation when there's panic and fear and things like that. But we all work together very well.
Yeah, it seems like it. There's so many people involved volunteering to help, again, the patients, the staff, the administration, all derive support from you all.
That's right. I hope so.
Yeah. What's the greatest reward in being a volunteer?
The greatest reward, Ron, is walking away knowing that you've done something to improve the quality of life for someone. All on a volunteer basis. No strings attached. Nothing required. God has given so much to me. The least I can do is give back to Him, and that's the way I find to do it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Al.
Thank you, Ron. Always
Appreciate
a pleasure.
Okay, next we welcome Brent Burney, who is a volunteer here, and you've been a volunteer for a couple of years now, right?
2.
2 years.
It's actually 2 next month, actually.
Awesome. Almost at anniversary. That's wonderful. So you went to West Lawrence High School.
I did.
All right, and so now you're going to go on further. You're furthering your education. How and where?
At Middle Georgia State College, and I will be pursuing a bachelor's degree in nursing, on a pre-med track.
Awesome. Best of luck to you on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so you're coming over here to get some experience.
Yes.
Be around the medical field. And tell us what types of things you volunteered in doing.
I volunteer on every floor here, actually. I started in the pediatric floor, and I've worked my way to the emergency room. And you see a total different perspective from each and every floor.
Yeah.
And it's just an amazing opportunity to be here rather than coming in blind.
Yeah, you'll certainly be on a fast track. You'll know what's going on. Okay, so tell us about some of the experiences that you've been able to share. What was most rewarding? Was it pediatrics or maybe more so in the emergency room?
My probably most memorable experience was my first day in the emergency room. My first patient that I transported had a stroke on me.
Oh, no.
And I panicked, but ran to a nurse or a physician, and I got them, and we had a great time afterwards, and they still joke around with me to this day about it.
Yeah, and you do mean ran, right?
ran.
Yeah, I'm sure. But with people's lives hanging in the balance like that, it gives you a different perspective, I'm sure, on your own life.
Yeah, it was an amazing output. In that same day, actually, I treated another patient who had just minor injuries, and I later saw them at a place of fun, and they noticed me and they recognized everything that I had done, and that's just a major accomplishment that I put out. So
you met a tremendous amount of people through the hospital, haven't you?
I have. It's an amazing experience.
Yeah, and so long-range plans for you, Brent. You're getting this experience here. You're able to work with people and learn about them, and learn about how to empathize with people, to sympathize with people, whatever the case may be. And so what do you plan to do now? Nursing and then on into the medical field? What's your long-range plan?
I plan to be a nurse for 4 years, and then afterwards I plan to be a physician. A urologist, actually. We're really short on urologists here in Dublin, so I'd like to come back and help as much as I can with that.
Well, that speaks volumes, that you would desire to come back to your community.
Somewhere I loved and just can't give it up.
Yeah. Tell us about your family, Brent.
My mom works in Gordon, Georgia, and my dad works for the city of Dublin. Amazing people who support me all the way. I actually got a full ride scholarship to go somewhere else, and I turned it down, and they were completely okay with that.
Support you in whatever you do.
Exactly.
Well, you seem to be a very good-hearted person, and it would stand to reason anyone volunteering is a tender-hearted person, someone who wants to give. What would you tell young people, anyone who may like to volunteer? How would they go about it? What would they do? What's the first experience like, and how do you motivate them to get started?
Well, we start at 15 now, and we actually have an open range where we go to each and every school that we're going to start this spring. And we go to each high school, we open it up to the public, and we're actually going to have this open ceremony where the people come in, they learn about the volunteer program, and if they want to pursue to be in the volunteer program, we'll help them out.
All right. You look for that in your schools, and you remind the young people about that alike. Okay. Thank you, Brent.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
I'll try.
Okay, and now we're here with Jennifer Sanders. And Jennifer, tell us about your capacity here at Fairview Park.
Well, I manage all of the registration areas. We make sure that the patients are accommodated as far as business office needs, as far as the registration needs and insurance verifications and that up front when they come into the facility to register for procedures.
You have to get them started, so to speak. Yeah, you got to have the paperwork in line to start with. So tell me about how volunteer affects you here and what you would say about volunteering at Fairview Park.
Volunteer is a big support to the Patient Access Department. My unique person for the area that I sit within is same-day surgery, where Mrs. Joanne Green is our volunteer in the area.
Yes.
She is instrumental in making sure that all of the physicians' unique needs are met as far as the patient access packets go. Each physician within the community have packets that they have certain individual forms that are included in them, and Ms. Green makes sure that those are accommodated when the patients report for their services.
She's a big help.
Oh, yes, definitely.
And you always need more help, though.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So what do you tell people in the community when you meet them, or if you could appeal to them now about volunteering?
If volunteers would come, they would be a benefit to us. Just to have, and speaking in reference to Mrs. Green, she has a focus on our patients when they walk in the door, and to see that friendly face and that first person that they see when they come in, it makes a big difference for us. It prepares us to make the services move faster. Having a volunteer to be here to get all of our packets accommodated for them when they return to the facilities.
Right.
So they're a benefit, much benefit. If that was a need that I would pursue in the community, I would ask that everyone choose to do that at the facility, and it would be a big help.
Yeah. And Jennifer, how long have you been with Fairview Park Hospital?
I've been here since 2008.
Okay, so you've known the blue ladies and maybe the pink ladies before that.
Yes.
Yeah. Now tell me about them and the image that you get from them, the emphasis that they have throughout the hospital. Tell me about what you would perceive them as being.
Friendly, very friendly, accommodating. Not just in the areas that they work in, but if you're like me, for instance, when I came in 2008, I wasn't familiar with how to get around in the hospital.
Yeah.
And I could stop one of them and they could assure me that I'm getting to the right area. So they're approachable. They're very supportive. Miss Green, I may see something that I like and she can introduce me to what's happening in the community as far as shopping or which is my favorite thing. So she, they help us to get acclimated to what's going on in the community as well.
So what I'm hearing is they work so well with the staff, the patients. They're kind of a gelling part of the community here at Fairview Park.
Bringing us closer together because the more that they can do for us, the more that we can pull away to be out to help the patients that are in need.
And knowing good and well the volunteers that they have no personal agenda. They're only there to help. What a receptive way to approach someone.
You wouldn't know the difference. It's as if it's their everyday thing. I mean, you wouldn't know that. The only thing that would tell is their uniforms, but to ask them to do something, you would think they were just a regular person on staff here at the facility.
Yeah, they come to help.
Oh, yes.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing with us, Jennifer.
You're very welcome.
Okay, now we're here with Jeff Bruton, who is with Human Resources here at the hospital. We just want to get your take, Jeff, on how important volunteers really are for Fairview.
Volunteers are the lifeblood of our hospital. We could not function at this hospital with our patient care and our visitor control and being who we are without volunteers. We have a lot of volunteers here. We have from our Ladies Auxiliary, who, again, has help us run the hospital for years, down to our junior volunteers, which I'm proud to say is a growing part of our outreach. To me, I'm looking as the human resources director. I hire the employees that come through Fairview Park Hospital, and I need people that absolutely have to want to be in healthcare. They want to have to have a passion for taking care of people. But I got to find them that have that passion. So how are we going to get people to have that passion? Well, we're going to bring them in through a volunteer program, through the youth of our community when they're in 14 and older. Ours are just coming out of middle school, and they come out here and they learn a little bit about healthcare, and they get to see healthcare practitioners in practice taking care of people, and we develop a love for healthcare. Again, at our lower levels in our high school, so that when they go into some kind of post-secondary education, once they graduate, they're employees of the future. The people who come to Fairview and stay are those who have a tie to the community, and who's better than that than the people who grow up here? Sure. So for me, our volunteer program, it is, again, the lifeblood of the future of Fairview Park Hospital.
Yeah, and you certainly encourage those young people. What an excellent way to get to know them, for them to understand the field. And as you say, they go get their education, come back, and they're part of our medical community.
Oh, let me tell you, we have, at one time I had the numbers, and I'm sure somebody could give them to you, but it's well into the double digits of physicians that have been on our staff at some point who were volunteers way back in the day.
Yeah.
We have, nurses all throughout the hospital. They were volunteers here. And they just made a smooth, easy transition from volunteer, student, to employee. It's tremendous. My daughter was a volunteer here for 3 years. She's headed off to college here in the fall. Her and a couple of her friends, they all plan on making a career in the medical field, and they were all volunteers here at the hospital. So given that love of healthcare and seeing what it can do to touch people's lives, man, it is just absolutely perfect.
Okay, so there's an opportunity for having a rewarding volunteerism here at Fairview Park Hospital. If you'd like more information, get in touch with Mindy Monk. Come through and meet everyone like Jeff here. Thanks for sharing with us.
I appreciate it, Ron.
Okay, and now the lady that we have talked about so much through the day here today and the many different interviews, Mindy Monk. You actually head up the volunteers here.
I do. Very rewarding job.
Yeah. How many volunteers do you have all total in all walks?
Oh, goodness.
About?
We have about 70.
Wow. 70 volunteers. That's awesome.
I know.
That's
It's great.
tremendous. But you could use more.
Of course. We
Well,
could
all
always
right.
use more.
All right. And so we've talked to high schoolers, we've talked to college students, we've talked to middle age, we've talked to senior adults. Anyone can volunteer.
Exactly. You have to be 15 on up. We have a 92 or 3-year-old, too. So
How
it's
about
great.
that? Yeah. Well, we talked to Brent, and he mentioned that you were making a progress to go around to the different schools and introduce the process of volunteering. What about people who are adults who would like to volunteer? How do they go about it? They contact you?
They contact me. You want my number?
Yeah, tell us how.
It's 478-274-3640.
Okay. Any information online about volunteering, or is it best just to give you a call?
It's best to give me a call. I believe we have applications on the Fairview Park Hospital page, which is www.fairviewparkhospital.com. But it's quicker probably to go through me. That way I know what's coming.
Right,
So-
right. They kind of get to know you. So you can just pick up
Exactly.
the phone, give you a call. It's just about that easy to get introduced to one another.
Very much.
There's certain days that you are here?
I'm here Monday through Friday. Friday is a half day, so I usually leave around 12, but usually it's 8 until 4:30.
Okay, so 8 to 4:30. Probably take a minute for lunch, but you can get in touch with it at that phone
Yes.
number and get more information from Mindy. And Mindy, you're a very kind-hearted person. I can tell. We've met a few times, and so I guess that's one reason they put you in, working with the volunteers. You read people well and able to get them involved. So when they come in, when they first meet you, I guess would speak to them and kind of an interview process and determine where they are best able to serve as a volunteer, right?
Yes. I do I ask where they would like to serve.
Yeah.
And I just coordinate between the volunteer and whatever department. And I use my judgment, too. If I think they'll fit best somewhere else, I'll let them know and we'll talk about it. But I do try to go with what their preference is.
Sure.
So.
Sure. So they can get in touch with you and start the process. And is there much training? You pair them with someone else that volunteers in the same area? How does that process
Well,
work?
we have, after the application process is done, and we drug screen all of our volunteers and background check them, they go through an orientation, much like an employee hospital orientation. And then code of conduct and things like that. Then once they're in their department, they kind of have a one-on-one orientation with whoever they're placed with in that department. So, but it's pretty intensive at first.
Yeah, and the time that they are volunteering, the time they actually come to work, you allow them flexibility on that scheduling, I'm sure.
Yes. We most of the adult volunteers are pretty set in when they come. They've been doing the same thing for years.
Right.
But we're flexible, especially with high school and college volunteers, because there are so many extracurricular activities and tests coming
Yeah,
up,
you never know. Yeah.
So we're real flexible, and so far the staff has been really great with working with all of our volunteers as well.
That's wonderful. Thank you for what you do, Mindy.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you all for tuning in. If you'd like to be a volunteer, the number's on the screen for you. You can get in touch with them here at Fairview Park Hospital and become a part. Make a difference in someone's life and give of yourself. Thanks for tuning in.